Today's topic is enzymes. In this topic, I'm going to tell about the basics of enzymes. Here we are going to learn few important contents. First one is definition and characteristics of enzymes, enzyme inducers and inhibitors, and structure of enzymes, which include holoenzymes, apoenzymes, prosthetic groups, cofactors, and coenzymes. Enzymes are essential to the life for animals and plants, and these enzymes are protein in nature, colloidal, and thermolabile in character, and specific in their actions. Almost all the enzymes are protein in nature, so they are made up of protein. So this is a 3D picture of enzyme. So which here these 3D pictures. So here it is having many beta pleated sheets and alpha helix, so which are held together. So this is a globular type of or a tertiary type of proteins. So here the enzyme is having active site. At this active site, substrate will be attached. And these enzymes are very essential to the life. So why? Because for many metabolic reactions, so these enzymes are required. For example, if you take the digestive enzymes, so which are involved in the digestion process, like amylase, protease, and lipase. So these enzymes will break down the complex material into simpler material. If you see the amylase, so which is useful for the converting starch molecule to a maltose. So this amylase, which is present in mouth and also gastric region. So protease, which is present in gastric region, so which converts protein to amino acids. The lipase, which is present in small intestine, so which converts lipids or fats to fatty acids and glycerols. So these enzymes are very essential to convert the complex material to simpler material. So these nutrients will be very essential for the metabolic growth in the cell and also release the ATP's molecules. And milk is also having an enzyme called lactase, so which is useful for converting a complex molecule, that is lactose, to glucose and galactose. So this lactase, which is present in small intestine, in some case there is a lactose intolerance is there. So due to that intolerance, they cannot produce lactase enzyme. So they cannot digest the lactose sugar. So they remain in the digestive system, and these lactose sugar molecules will be fermented by the bacteria which is present in the intestine, and which leads to so many symptoms like nausea, cramps, bloating, diarrhea, etc. And these enzymes are also very essential for converting hydrogen peroxide to oxygen and water molecules. So these hydrogen peroxide molecules will be produced by the cells in many metabolic reactions. If these hydrogen peroxide molecules will be retained or accumulated in the cell, so it leads to many complications. So why? Because the hydrogen peroxide will be releasing free radicals. So here catalase enzyme so will be involved for converting the hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. So these are the important enzymes which are present in our body. And if we lack these important enzymes, so we can take the supplements of syrups, enzyme tablets, and also we can take the enzyme rich food. So these are the enzyme rich food: papaya, banana, pineapple, and kiwi fruits, which are high in sugar, which contains more sugar, and less sugar containing energy enzyme rich foods are avocado and some other foods. So these enzymes are very essential in our body, and these enzymes are acting as a catalyst, so which increases the rate of the chemical reaction. Here the substrates will be attaching the enzyme at active site, and this enzyme will be acting as a catalyst to convert the substrate to products. Here important point is, after conversion of substrate to product, the enzymes will be reused. That means the structure of enzyme will not be changed. So during the process of catalysis, and these enzymes are specific in nature. So different enzymes are having are useful for the different substrates. The active site which is present in the enzyme will be very specific for the specific substrates. And the enzyme activity is mainly depending upon two important molecules: enzyme inhibitors, enzyme inducers. Enzyme inhibitors will decrease the enzyme activity or suppress the enzyme activity, and enzyme inducers will increase the enzyme activity. So these enzyme inducers are also called to be enzyme activators. Here the enzyme activity is also affected by few important common factors like temperature, chemical environment, or pH. If optimum temperature and chemical pH is present, the enzyme activity will be increased. If there is any change in temperature or pH, that leads to the denaturation of enzyme will be occurred. It finally leads to the inhibition of enzyme activity. So this is about enzyme activity. Here the enzyme, so which is forming a complex with substrate. The substrate will be adding at the active site of the enzyme and forming enzyme substrate complex. Then the substrate is converting to products, and products and enzyme will be separated. And this enzyme is again reused. So this is the normal reaction. So whereas in case of inhibition, the here enzyme active site will be occupied by inhibitor, which is called a competitive inhibitor, which competiting with the substrate molecules. And this inhibitor is having the same shape, a complementary shape like a substrate. So due to adding of an enzyme inhibitor here at this active site, the substrate will not be attached at this position. So there is no conversion of substrate to products. There is no proceeding of reaction. So here the enzyme activity will be suppressed. So this is called a competitive inhibition. And the next one is allosteric inhibition. So here also inhibitor will be added, but here inhibitor will not be added or will not be joined at the active site. It will be joined at the allosteric site. So when this inhibitor is adding at allosteric site, the shape or orientation of active site will be changed. So due to that, the substrate will not be joining or will not be fit into that active site. So substrates cannot be producing any products. There is no proceeding of any reaction. And here the enzyme activity will be suppressed. So these are all called to be allosteric inhibition. And the next one is allosteric activation. So this is quite opposite to the allosteric inhibition. So here also activator, so we'll be attaching at the allosteric site. But initially the active site is disordered. It is not complementary to the substrate shape. Now after adding of allosteric activator, here active site becomes a complementary to the substrate site. Then the substrate will be attaching, it will be fit into the active site. Then it gives the activity. So this is called allosteric activation. So these are the examples for enzyme inhibitors and inducers. Cimetidine, ketoconazole, and fluconazole are called to be enzyme inhibitors, which suppress the enzyme activity. Rifampicin, carbamazepine, phenobarbital, etc. So which enhance, which increase the enzyme activity, so which are called to be enzyme inducers. And these are the important enzyme characteristics. And here the enzyme is doing the main function to increase the rate of chemical reaction. So if you see this picture, here we can see two important reactions, uncatalyzed reaction, catalyzed reaction. Uncatalyzed reaction, it doesn't have any association with enzymes. The reactants will not be having any association with enzymes. But whereas in case of catalyzed reaction, reactants are associating with enzymes. Here in uncatalyzed reaction, so reactants are requiring more energy to reach its peak point. That is called a transition phase. It requires more energy to get into the transition phase. So after getting to the transition phase, then only it is converting into a products. But whereas in case of catalyzed reaction, here it requires very less energy due to presence of enzyme association. So here in catalyzed reactions, reactants can be easily converting into products. So this is the main difference between uncatalyzed reaction and catalyzed reaction. The activation energy of this reaction is very less due to presence of enzymes. So this is the first basic characteristics. That means the enzymes will be increasing the rate of chemical reaction. And enzymes are specific in nature. So why? Because different enzymes are having different active sites. For example, if you can see here, so these two enzymes are having two different active sites. And these two substrates will be fit into this enzyme, and these two substrates are fit into this enzyme. So that means here the specificity is the main important property that enzyme has. So and the third property is here the enzymes, so which increases the activity of reaction that we have already learned in the first point. So here this picture is explaining that how the enzyme is working. So due to presence of enzyme, here the activation energy is very less for the reactants. So easily these reactants can be converting into products. But if the absence of enzyme here, the reactants are very difficult to get into the product. Why? Because it requires more activation energy. By its own, it cannot converting into, or it takes more time to converting into products. Here the enzyme action, the main enzyme action is catalysis. Enzyme is used as catalyst. So as we said already that here the substrate molecules will be attaching at this active site of enzyme and forming enzyme substrate complex, which will be catalyzed and converting into enzyme product complex. So after formation of the products, here the enzymes will be separated and the products also will be separated, and these enzymes will be reused for the next processes. So this is a three-dimensional picture of enzymes. The whole enzyme is called to be holoenzyme, so which is containing a protein part and a non-protein part. So these are the non-protein parts which are called to be cofactors, and these colored parts is called to be apoenzyme. So that means the whole of enzyme which is containing a protein part is called apoenzyme, and non-protein part is called to be cofactors. So this is the active site, so where the substrate will be attaching here. So this is the globular protein, tertiary protein structure, so which is having alpha helix proteins and beta pleated sheets. So this is a simple picture of a three-dimensional enzyme, which is globular in shape and which is having beta pleated sheets and alpha helix. So this is the picture of human pancreatic amylase. Enzyme structure. Here, most of the enzymes are protein in nature. So these proteins are made up of amino acid sequences, and primary, secondary protein structures will be held together and forming a tertiary proteins, which are called to be globular proteins. So most of the enzymes are globular proteins. So here the enzyme, so which is having a protein part, which is called to be apoenzyme, and a non-protein part, so which is called to be cofactor and coenzymes. So these non-protein part and protein part are called together as holoenzyme. So these cofactors are again converting into two important types, so metal ions and coenzymes. Coenzymes are also called to be organic cofactors, and metal ions are called to be inorganic cofactors. Why? Because here it doesn't have any organic molecule like carbon. Coenzymes are having organic molecules, and these coenzymes are again converting into two important types, co-substrates and prosthetic groups. So prosthetic groups are tightly bounded groups. So here we can see here apoenzyme, which is tightly bonding with a group which is called prosthetic group. If the coenzymes are loosely or slightly bounding with the apoenzyme, then it is called to be co-substrates. And here the metal ions. So these metal ions are also attaching with cofactors by non-covalent bonds. And here cofactors, sorry, so metal ions are attaching with the apoenzyme by non-covalent bond, and these coenzymes will be attaching with apoenzymes by covalent bonds. So that's why the bonding between apoenzyme and coenzyme will be very strong, and the bonding between metal ions and cofactors will be very loose. It's not strong. So here the non-peptide component part is called to be cofactors, and the peptide component is called to be apoenzyme. So here cofactors that are tightly bound to the polypeptide are prosthetic groups, as we already learned. So this is the active site. So where the substrate will be attaching with enzyme. If you compare the size of active site, here the active site is having very little size and comparing with the globular protein. The protein has big in size. And these active sites will be useful in the participation of catalysis process. And different enzymes are having different active sites. So this active site, which is having a specific shape, which is complementary to the substrates, a particular substrates. And these active sites are made up of amino acids. So those are called to be residues. That means here the substrate will be attaching with the residues, the amino acids which are present in active sites. A lysozyme enzyme which is having 129 amino acid. Lysozyme is a protein so which is having 129 amino acid sequences, in which sequence 35, 52, 62, 63 and 101. So these sequences will be forming active site, and here at this active site substrate will be attaching. And one more important point is here is the active site is very flexible. It will be changing with the allosteric inhibitors or activators. It is not a rigid property, it is not a fixed property. The shape of the active site will be changing depending upon different factors that we have learned already, that pH or some other factors will be influencing the active site. And this active site, which is having two important sites, one is substrate binding site, where substrate will be binding, and the second one is catalytic site. Here the catalysis process will be occurred. And this active site, so many amino acids will be present. So mostly serine, aspartate, histidine, cysteine, lysine, arginine, etc. These amino acids are present at this active site. So different enzymes are having different amino acids, but mostly the serine is present at this active site. So most of the enzymes, the serine amino acid which is present at the active site. And here this active site will be useful for formation of enzyme substrate complex. The next one is apoenzyme. So this apoenzyme, which is a protein in nature, which is completely made up of protein molecules. So this apoenzyme is having active site. Sometimes the apoenzyme, so which is associating with a coenzyme by covalent bonds. So when this coenzyme is attaching to the apoenzyme, then the apoenzyme will be activated. Now the active site, here the active site will be produced, which is very active in nature. Now the substrate will be attaching. So these type of enzymes are called to be complex enzymes. So why? Because the complex enzyme which is having apoenzyme, a protein part, and also a non-protein part. But simpler enzymes also will be present, in which only apoenzymes will be present, and these apoenzymes are very active in nature, which doesn't require any cofactors or coenzymes. Those are called to be simpler enzymes, simple enzymes. The best example for the simple enzyme is ribonuclease. And here one important term that we need to learn, that proenzymes are zymosins. And these proenzymes or zymosins, which are inactive in nature of apoenzymes. So before formation of apoenzymes, before activation of apoenzymes, so this apoenzyme active site will be closed, and it is not allowing the substrate to attach or fit into this apoenzyme. So those enzymes are called to be zymosins. See here we can see. So these are the zymosins. Here the active site, actual active site is closed due to some polypeptide chains, the closing the active site way. Here this zymosin will be getting autocatalysis. That means here these polypeptide chains will be sometimes removed. So due to removal of this polypeptide chains, here the active site will be produced, the open site will be produced. This is called to be active enzyme. Here now the enzyme is activated. Now it is ready for the formation of enzyme substrate complex. So that's why these enzymosins are also called to be proenzymes, a primitive enzymes. And the next one is substrate. So substrate is very important component. So why? Because here these substrates are converting into products. So these substrates are also called to be reactants. So this the red portion is called to be substrate. Here it is attaching at active site. And these substrates and active site which are complementary to each other, that means the shape of the active site which will be complementary to the substrate shape. The next one is cofactor. So these cofactor are also very much essential in enzymes. Some enzymes, with the association of cofactors only, they can produce the active sites. So these are the examples for the cofactors. These cofactors, so which are having metal ions in the middle, so it is forming ligands. So here the enzyme is inactive nature initially. So when the cofactor is added here, it becomes active protein. Now it is giving active sites to attach with substrates. And these cofactors are attaching with protein by two bonds. Sometimes they will be attaching with covalent bonds in coenzymes. Sometimes it is attaching with non-covalent bonds in metal ions. So metal ion activators. So these cofactors which are having metal ions, and these metal ions are attaching with an enzyme, a protein part, and these metal ion activators are also called to be inorganic cofactors. Why? Because here there is no organic portion in the cofactor. It is made up of inorganic metal ions. So these are the metal ions which are used as cofactors: zinc, magnesium, manganese, ferrous, etc. So this is about the basics of enzymes. Thank you.